Welcome back to NBC5 News at 6. I'm Kristen Hosfeld.
And I'm Craig Smolin. All week long, we've been sharing stories from the most recent Oregon Honor Flight. The nonprofit takes World War II and Korean War veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit their memorials.
On this most recent trip, 25 veterans came along from Jackson, Josephine, Coos, Curry, Douglas, and Klamath counties. And among the 25 was one female World War II veteran named Geraldine Ruth Parks.
That's the uniform I wore. That one and that one.
Ruth Parks enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1942.
Oh, I love that.
She was a wave, the very first class of them.
I loved it. It was great. You know, oh, she's a wave. You know, we were the first of the gals.
As a telegrapher, Ruth's job during the war was sending and receiving messages. She was fast.
I had to be.
And her speed was put to the test during a shift at the Philadelphia Naval Yard.
The craziest thing was when I received a message about the German submarines on the Jersey coast, not very far from where we were stationed. I had to get out to 7 different naval stations in Jersey, and within minutes I got it done.
Ruth admits it was a little scary, but at the time she got the messages out and then tucked it away.
We couldn't say anything then. People didn't know what was going on. I had really forgotten about that all these years until recently. I had blocked it out of my head because we were told not to say anything.
Now, all these years later, she's in Washington, D.C., seeing the Navy Memorial for the first time and the Women's Museum.
Not all women wore love beads in the 60s. Isn't that great?
Reminiscing.
Brings back memories.
And reflecting.
It was so long ago.
On the work she loved doing for the country she served.
Those were the days. Look at that.
And you know, she said, we were told not to say anything. I'd forgotten about that for all these years. And really, that's what these trips do, is they just reflect on some of those memories that they hadn't talked about for a really long time.
It's an incredible story. Certainly something that could have caused a lot of panic, and she's right there in the thick of things. It's incredible.
And unfortunately, when we came back from our trip just a few weeks after Ruth ended up in the hospital, she suffered a medical emergency, and so I know she's watching from the hospital bed now.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you for your service.
Yes, and we, of course, wish her a speedy recovery, an incredible, incredible woman with an incredible story.
Thoughts and prayers with you, Ruth.
And while Ruth was the only female veteran along for the trip, there was another special woman who was recognized for her service during the war. Florence Schilling was the youngest Army nurse in the European theater. Sadly, she never made it on an honor flight, but the nonprofit held a special ceremony at the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. to honor her service.
Schilling went to shore on Normandy Beach right after D-Day and served with the 138th Hospital all the way to the end of the war.
She's a remarkable woman and a hero in my mind, and it's a fitting recognition for her service. Women don't get recognized enough for their service.
At the end of the war, Schilling was offered head surgical nurse at Walter Reed Army Hospital, a job she ultimately turned down to return to Southern Oregon to care for her sick mother. She went on to become head surgical nurse at Ashland Hospital. Schilling passed away earlier this year.
Wow, what an honor, Walter Reed. Incredible hospital there. And remember, all week long, we're showcasing the Southern Oregon Honor Flight. If you missed any of the pieces we've aired so far, you can see them on our website, KOBI5.com. Right now, just click on the Honor Flight tab and be sure to join us again tomorrow night as we introduce you to the oldest veteran aboard this year's Honor Flight.
And an incredible story there as well.